Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano, and I think this thing is cricky. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano, and I'm back with another art video. This is like the 5th video, I think, in this series. And this was actually another 3-part painting. My second video I did was a 3-part painting, and this is something I guess I must have just continued with the trend of doing that. I never really thought about it. But this is a 3-part painting. This is part 1. I'll get to part 2 and 3. They're just so big I can't. My arms aren't big enough. Alright. So part 1, this is, you may be able to read what it says in the center. It says, "We must realize." Now this series of paintings, I'm going to set this down for a second. This series of paintings was actually inspired by a song. There's a band I really like called The Sound of Animals Fighting, which partially inspired one of my other 3-part paintings, one that sits in the corner. It didn't really, so I didn't mention it before, but it kind of did in the thoughts that I was thinking, and just in a roundabout way it did. But this one, it directly inspired. They have a 3rd album out called The Ocean and the Sun. And there's a song on there called Uzbekistan, which is a really strange, crazy sounding song. But I'm actually going to play a clip for you right now. So just give your ears a treat right now. It's going to be weird, I promise. But just enjoy.
Some people never even ask. What are you thinking? Who's in charge?
I don't understand French, but if I could, I would write beautiful songs about war. Because in 70 love would exist.
See your street.
For the benefit of the holders of the company. We must burn our little boxes. We must create dialogue. We must realize the importance of every moment. We must turn our boredom to gratitude. Use your hands, your thoughts, your hunger. These things are yours and yours alone.
Okay, now I apologize if that's not the kind of music you're normally into. It is definitely different sounding. The cool thing about that band, just so you guys know, is everything on that album, every one of their albums has been recorded in a really weird, unconventional way, where they start with a drummer in one room and he records something, and then they send it off to someone else to record the bass part, and they send that off to someone else completely different to record the guitar part, all without not meeting each other. So it's like a weird album that's come together, and they do the vocals last, but it's an album that's come together without anybody being in the same room at the same time, so that's why it's called like The Sound of Animals Fighting, so it's like these different personalities all coming together to make something beautiful without ever needing to be in the same room or being around each other. And it's a weird, interesting art project. But the line that I love the most is, "We must realize the importance of every moment." In one of my last videos, I talked about the importance to me of Polaroids and how you can't reproduce them. And you'll notice right here, there's actually a Polaroid. And on the top corner, there's also another Polaroid. Now, this was a real Polaroid that I bent and glued on here. This one is a Polaroid that I had just painted. So what it is a bunch of ink, and it says, "We must realize," and I've got some stuff that I drew in ink. First, I actually painted it the weird colors, the red into the yellow, and I left this white, and I don't know why. It was just originally white, yellow, red, that, and there was no black ink. So I went in, and this, where it says "We must realize," is just paper that I had drawn on, and I just pasted it over after the fact. But so I went in, and I started with actually black ink, and I started in here. This circle is actually the tracing of a Pepsi can that was left. My roommate, I left this out, and my roommate just set his can on top of it. Thanks, buddy. But I was like, that's kind of cool, actually. Let me trace it, and that became the circle. And I started building off this weird, like, little tree and root thing, very similar to what I did in one of my first paintings, was using roots and those kind of lines. And also brought back these weird, like, skeletal, almost bug wing, like a weird little angel kind of drawing. And there's a bug wing in another one of my other paintings, if you watch the other videos. So that's kind of where that came from, was another version of those bug wings. And I wanted it to have this, like, plant-like feel, where everything was kind of dripping, but it looked like roots or like tentacles. So that's what this is all about. And I decided to give it this weird, like, cloud-like kind of bubbling effect down into the bottom, which I did, and, you know, and I went both ways with it. Some points the yellow is, like, dripping down into the black, some points the black's dripping down into the white, and I kind of wanted it to have this weird, almost 3D layered feel, depending on what part you're looking at, different parts on top. So it has that going for it. I decided to bring back the eyeball. Over here in the corner is another one of Abraham Lincoln's eyeballs, and this time I turned it into this weird, like, octopus creature. And I brought back the feather. In the painting I did based on animals, if you check the other videos or if you watch any in the playlist, I did a red feather on a painting, and I was like, I really like this feather. So I decided to bring that feather back, and I drew it inside his mouth, kind of like these weird, very intricate little designs. And that's that, and there's also like a leaf that I hid up here. And I mean, this is just the first part of it. So my obsession with the whole thing about Polaroids doesn't really show quite yet. Other than there's a Polaroid here, and the interesting thing about this part is the picture in the Polaroid is the second painting. So like this one was made first, but I put the Polaroid after the fact and glued it on top. And the other one is actually a piece of the last video I did, which was based off an old calendar print that I found. It's got a guitar, the bird, and the moon hand thing that glows in the dark. I actually repainted the moon because I really fell in love with making a painting of the moon using grays and whites to make something like that happen. And I really liked how I did that, and that actually got me started painting planets. When I did Earth and the moon in that one, that it got me inspired to do planet-like things. So that's why I included the moon on this piece. Now this is the first piece. This is "We Must Realize." So naturally the second piece is going to be "The Importance of," and here it is. This one is called "The Importance of," so it's "We Must Realize the Importance of," and the last one's going to be "Every Moment." But for right now, this one is "The Importance of." If you notice, in the very background is a very large shaped Polaroid. And in it, in the green, is written "The Importance of," the E's kind of falling off. I don't know why I did that. I think I just ran out of room when I cut it, because the way it's written is actually in dollar bills. So as a callback to my very first piece of artwork, where I was so upset about money, I decided to actually cut up a dollar bill, a $1 bill. Don't worry, I didn't cut up like 100 or nothing. I'm not crazy. But I decided to cut up a dollar bill into the shape of those letters in the font that you'd find on a dollar bill. So "The Importance of" is the background. And there's, I was always saying Snip Snap back then, because there's a show called Frisky Dingo on Adult Swim. And one of the like retorts they'd always come back with was, "Oh, snip snap." So, snip snap indeed. So I was saying that all the time. I don't know why, other than for that show. And I decided to just start drawing what I had around me. I had my Polaroid camera around me. This is actually what it looks like. It's a blue Polaroid camera. So I drew that in the corner, again with ink and a little bit of paint in the inside. I drew the scissors, because those were the scissors I was using at the time. I just had them on my desk. So I was like, cool, scissors. And then I wanted the bird to say something, so I had him say snap. So we got snip, snap. And it's kind of like, I don't know why or what, like, made me do this, but I made the ink. I brought a little bit of that ink from the other painting. So they don't really, like, go together. Like, not necessarily. They kind of do, almost. Kind of go together. See? See what I'm saying? Maybe it's like that. I don't remember. Either way, they kind of, you know, they kind of go together down there where the ink hits, but not necessarily, and they don't have to. So I wanted this to kind of be like a sun with these weird sun rays coming out. And also there's this little planet over here. So I'm starting to dabble into, you're seeing where I'm starting to pull stuff from other art pieces and bring them in. And so that's what this middle piece is. Not a whole lot to it. This little rose down in the corner is kind of interesting. My roommate at the time, this girl Nicole, she had these earrings and she just left one out on the table, and I really liked the shape of it. It's this cool little rose shape. So I was like, do you need this? And she's like, nah, it's cool. I think I lost one or something like that. I don't know. Either way, I took it and I drew it and I gave it back. But I liked that whole idea, and I liked the idea of one leaf. There's one leaf that's green. Now, if you go back to my very first video, the painting that I did based on plants, there's a branch, and it's got one green leaf on it. Very similar to this branch that the bird is on. If you look at the very top up here, there's one small green leaf, very much like that very first painting I did. So again, I'm starting to pull from other things and bring them in. So this is the importance of. And the last piece in this series is actually this one. It's called Every Moment. Now, it's kind of hard to read it, but we must realize the importance of. And this one, every, is written up here. And this one in Polaroids that are actually turning into bubbles. M-O-M-E-N-T, moment. Now this one, these ones should kind of match up a little bit better. There we go. You see the blue orb kind of ties those two together. All the while there's like this weird crazy elephant guy doing his thing, blowing bubbles. And it's just very strange. I've got some of the ink blots that are actually like the second video I did, where I did the one about Polaroids. So that's kind of where that's coming in. These are all these blocky shapes, kind of like in the shape of Polaroids, that become rounded and slowly become more like bubbles. Which is why this elephant down here is holding a bubble wand. And he's kind of blowing these bubbles. He's the one, I don't know why he's an elephant, but I love the idea of an elephant. I think I just really wanted to paint an elephant. Initially it was an ugly looking weird elephant, but I went in later and kind of touched him up and made him look better. So I like him now. And the cool thing about this one is up top where it says every moment, it's actually a working clock. You guys can kind of see it there. In the back, see there's a clock that I actually stuck through the canvas. Because it's wobbly canvas, it doesn't stay on too great. But when I get it fixed and I get it working right and I really mess with it, it actually does tell time, and it is a clock that moves. Let me see if I can get this to... There you go, you can kind of see a little eyeball. So again, I brought back Abraham Lincoln's eyeball from the first painting, from the space one with the hand. That's actually right here. I just drew another copy of it and stuck it to the second hand, one that tells the seconds on the clock. The hour hand is actually the Earth, another copy of the Earth, just like that same painting with the hand. And again, the moon is the minute hand. So the moon moves faster, then there's the Earth that moves slower, and behind it is the sun. So again, we're telling time. We're talking about time, and I think part of the reason I went with the elephant is because elephants never forget, is like they're saying, you know, elephants never forget. So it was kind of like, we must realize the importance of every moment, really ties in with that, because you don't want to forget those things. This is the elephant. He's the one blowing these crazy time thought bubbles. I really don't know why exactly I went into some of that. It kind of makes sense now that I think about it, but I kind of want to leave it up for interpretation. But again, there's that, and I don't think I can stick the other one because I don't have a third hand. But that's it, guys. I'm going to leave you guys with a nice little picture of all three of them so you can see exactly what they look like together. But that's it. That is, we must realize the importance of every moment. If anyone out there is interested in owning one or all of them, let me know. If you guys like seeing the way I do this, the way I take from an older art piece and bring it into a newer art piece, is that something you want to see me do more of? Because I could always whip up new stuff, pinching little pieces of other people's art. And that's actually something that I took from Mark Ryden, a good artist, Mark Ryden. If any of you are familiar with him, let me know. I love his artwork. I'm nowhere near Mark Ryden, but just saying, his ideas definitely inspired me to pull stuff from other artwork and bring it into new artwork. So it's kind of a cool thing to do. Either way, guys, I want to know what you think. What do you think about my original artwork, my crazy clock canvas, and appreciating and realizing the importance of every moment? Is it important to you? Let me know down in the comments below. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video, alright? Bye.